Hey guys, it's Leo, and it's time to talk about episode 33 of HUGTTO PRECURE. This episode was packed. There were so many things going on, there were so many characters being developed, there were so many characters sharing their feelings, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to englobe everything, but I'm going to try. And this was a special episode to me. It spoke to me in many moments, and it made me emotional again. I mean, HUGTTO is really bringing the emotions out of me. I think it's actually really being very relatable with what I am living, and I'm gonna get to that. But the episode started with Lulu and Emiru watching themselves in television. So they're getting very popular, and I wasn't expecting that. They were not expecting that as well. But for the first time, Emiru had to deal with something, which is criticism. Someone was not really enjoying their music. That person wasn't really feeling it. It wasn't really understanding Twin Love. And that really hit hard on her. And it started to make her question herself and her ability to make songs and her talent. You know, it made Emiru question herself. That's so relatable. That's such a thing that happens to us every time when we're doing something we love and we're questioned about that. Sometimes it gets to us. And so I totally understood her. And then we had a connection because they had a job that were brought to them by Paparu, and I was so happy to see her again after some episodes that she didn't appear. I was really happy to see her, and she found a job for them as interviewers. But as Lulu was feeling very down, she gave her position to Hana and Saya. And then they started watching Homare and Henry performing together, training together, and Henry was also a main point of this episode. We were able to see Masato, who is Emiru's brother, and we saw him interacting with Henry, and we see that it's actually a very interesting character change because he evolved so much from who he was before and who he is now, and I love to see that. And when I was thinking about it, one thing that came to me is that sometimes we're so afraid and we're so scared that when we see someone like Masato, we run away, we confront them, and we fight against that person. And I think that's understandable. That's something that we, as minorities, we tend to do because of survivability. We have to do this so that we're able to survive. Not only survive like our physical integrity, but our mental integrity as well, because we suffer a lot with comment and judgment, and then we have a person who is very judgmental, who's very critical, who is very who spurs prejudice all the time, and we tend to confront that person. But with Henry, I mean, Henry confronted him very hard back then. Hana also confronted him, but Henry embraced him, and he taught him another possibility of life and another possibility of presenting yourself and, you know, embracing and loving yourself. And I am really in love with the way they did it, the change that happened with Masato. I mean, Masato was such a horrible character, a horrible person, and he was changed because Henry was able to open his arms and hug him and stay with him and teach him a way of being that for him was wrong, and now it's not anymore. And I was really surprised with the way they were both portrayed in this episode. So Henry was suffering because there was a producer. This producer wanted something to happen so that they would bring more viewers, right? But Henry was very angry with that because they wanted to create fake drama, and Henry wasn't getting any of that. He wanted to be real. He wanted himself to be shown in a light that was his light. And people were not respecting that. And at the same time, we had the Emiru thing, the Emiru drama. We had Lulu feeling helpless as well, because Lulu, she is Emiru's best friend. And when Emiru gets down like that, Lulu doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to bring her up again. She doesn't know. She has no clue on how she's going to be able to, help Emiru feel better about herself, feel confident in her talent, and all of those things. And then those dramas, they were all mixed up. They were all together. They ended up happening at the same time. And then we had Kriyasu Corp trying to get Henry to become their ally. And they gave a very big discourse about stopping time and how that would be beneficial to Henry. And that makes me a little suspicious of Listel, because Listel knew there was something happening with Henry, and we, the viewers, we didn't know. I mean, when I was watching it, I was thinking about it and I said, okay, there is something wrong. Henry's time is up, is almost up. He has very little time, but I didn't know what it was. Listel knew what Henry's problem was, and he tried to use that to his advantage. How does he know that? Because we didn't see Listel, searching for info on him. We didn't see anything. So that makes me very suspicious on Listel's identity. And one thing that really caught my attention was Listel's hair. The way he uses his hair and the way he untied it to fight and to present things to Henry. And then we had my favorite scene, which was when Henry talked to Emiru. And Emiru is always the best, and I love her reactions. And I think that one of the things that really called my attention was how honest they both were with each other in that dialogue. That scene was my favorite scene from this episode, and I really liked how they both opened up. And I liked that Emiru told Henry that he helped Masato a lot, and Emiru's grateful for that. I'm pretty sure about it, because Emiru suffered a lot because of her brother and his conservative ways. And so when Lulu appeared, I was very happy to see them hugging and to see them, very lovey-dovey with each other, because their friendship is very beautiful. But I think that this drama with Lulu and Emiru, it kind of gets a little repetitive, because they always have this problem, but they always make it up at the end with a hug, and that's nice because we're talking about HUGTTO. We're talking about hugs and the power of changing things with love. I think that's one of the themes of the season. And then when Henry was going to appear and perform, I don't know if ice skating is called a performance. I think it's a routine, right? I don't know the correct word. But it was very beautiful. I loved the animation. But when the song stopped and Lulu started, and when Emiru started singing, and he had to skate with the Twin Love song, I was really happy, and that brought a tear to my eye, I'm gonna be honest, because Lulu and Emiru performing together is so powerful, and I really like how that brings up lots of emotions. It really does, and I really loved it. And then we had Kriyasu attacking. Listel was attacking. I think it was the first time Listel attacked. We didn't see his animation yet. We didn't see his Oshimaida animation. Oshimaida? I think I'm getting the name wrong. Anyway, we didn't see his animation Oshimaida, yes. We didn't see him calling the Oshimaida as we see the other villains. So I think we're in for a surprise when he does. And then he still asked for Henry's acceptance. Henry obviously didn't accept, and I really liked how he called for the Precure and how he cheered on them. And that was priceless. The fight was very short, but it was interesting. But yeah, that was it. I mean, one of the things I forgot to talk about, right before Henry's performance, Masato held his hand. And I know we want clear representation, but in shows like Precure, I do understand that it's such a big step when they show things like this. And I was so happy when I saw it. I was in love with everything. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I really embraced this kind of thing. So thank you so much, Toy. It was priceless. And another thing that I was very happy was when Henry blew a kiss and Masato was right there in the middle. He got all red cheeked and I was, oh my god, they're so cute. And you know, the change of his character is so important. The growth of his character is so important. And then we got back to Henry, who is actually dealing with the fact that the villains are calling up to him. The villains are actually calling up to him, and it made an impact on him, because I think there is something wrong with one of his feet, and he doesn't really have much time to achieve things. You know, he doesn't have much time. He has to achieve it now. If he doesn't, what's gonna happen? If he doesn't, what is going to be his future? So if time stops, that's an advantage for him. So I think he is still dealing with the fact that he's being called to be a villain. And I don't know how things are going to turn out, but I think that if Henry becomes a villain, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting, because Henry is one of the most interesting characters. I love the way he embraces himself and how he loves himself and how powerful his character is, and how a great message that his character sends. At the same time, one of the things I love about his character is how feminine he looks and how feminine he acts, but his voice is very deep. Because it would be like the most obvious thing to give him an effeminate voice, which would suit his character perfectly, but they gave him a very deep voice, and that's interesting. That's a very interesting thing. And I don't know how things are culturally in Japan, but it's normal to see male characters with very effeminate voices, and it doesn't really mean that they are gay. And I'm not saying this is a good or a bad thing. I need to think about it, actually. But, you know, I like that his voice is deep, because it breaks the expectation on his character. But I love Henry and I love HUGTTO. Episode 33 was gorgeous. So please leave a comment with your opinions on episode 33. Let's keep talking in the comment box below. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.